still until today, I can't believe that I'm done with IUI. I feel like things went by really slow in the beginning, and then it just went by really quickly, and next thing I know, I'm done. I feel like I'm still mentally in IUI journey, so everything is quite fresh, and I kind of want to walk you guys through and also do a wrap up. Also because I feel like I missed out some things on my vlogs that I wanted to say that I didn't get to point out. So I kind of want to sit down here and basically kind of tell you guys how I felt and some of the stuff that I wished I knew. So this video is going to be a very cozy girl-to-girl talk. So take your drink, pause this video, and just get cozy and let's get into it. So let me just backtrack a little bit, give you guys a little background just in case you kind of missed out on the first episode and you just stumbled across this video. Hi, I'm Sunny. I'm Korean. I grew up in Bali and I live in Korea now. I've been struggling with infertility for almost 2 years, and recently my husband and I decided to do IUI, our first IUI, and we have succeeded, and I am now in my second trimester and pregnant. For those of you guys who don't know, IUI is an intrauterine insemination, so it's a one step below IVF. If IVF is fertilizing outside, IUI is still on the inside of the uterus. Basically what they do is that they wash the sperm or filter the sperm and then put it back in with a really long injection back to your uterus. So it is still considered quite natural, and that was the process that my husband and I wanted to go for after we've discussed about like, hey, we've been trying for a year now, what should we do, what's next? I do want to have a baby as soon as possible. It was something that we've been planning for basically, so I wanted to kind of like hurry up and get it done, so that's why we've decided to jump into IUI right away. I feel like IUI and IVF are very personal. It depends on what kind of method that you feel comfortable with, or you want to just skip the IUI and go for IVF right away. Hold on guys, I'm out of breath. Oh, hold on. I've seen that some people go straight to IVF right away because of the higher percentage of conceiving, but my husband and I wanted to just try IUI first. And in Korea, the way how it goes is that you have to try for a year in order to be qualified to do your IUI. And then if your IUI doesn't work out, you can go straight to IVF. But then again, this is all depending on your doctor, because I remember telling my doctor like, hey, if I don't succeed in my IUI the first try, can I just jump right into IVF? And he said, yeah, sure, we can do that. So yeah, talk to your doctor about it, because I feel like every country is different and this is just how Korea is. I didn't want to do IVF from the start because I have done my research, and the intensity of like the hormonal pills and everything that you have to take, it's a lot more higher than IUI, and I just wanted to understand the system first through IUI, so that I kind of have the taste of, oh, this is what it's gonna look like or feel like when I do my IVF. So that's why we've decided to do IUI instead. So the good thing about Korea is that when you have infertility issues, the government will help you with subsidizing either IUI or IVF. This is mainly because Korea is going through a really low birth rate and the population is declining so hard that the government is doing everything they can to help with all these issues. So even after you do your IVF, IUI, if you ended up pregnant, the government will also give you additional aid and extra helps and this and that. So that one I'm gonna tell you guys about more in the next video. When I heard that, I was really relieved. I've seen so many videos about IUI and IVF of how costly it is, but when I heard from my doctor that we will be given a subsidy from the government, I was like, whoa, nice. Before proceeding with IUI, we have to take a lot of different tests, and one of them is a test where your ovary and your fallopian tube will be tested if it's blocked or not. And that requires adding in a chemicals or some sort of a liquid to your uterus. And nobody told me that it's gonna hurt. People around me has been saying that it's discomfort and it's slightly kind of annoying. But when I actually went in there, holy cow, it was so painful to a point that it was like period cramps times 100. That's how I felt, and I actually cried in the lab. So yeah, I walk out feeling kind of semi-betrayed. I feel like, oh my god, like why nobody told me that it is painful. I know that it is very personal, everyone feels differently, but to me it was so painful, you guys. And also it's good to know before you go into the lab, the worst case scenario. I walked in there not knowing how painful it's gonna be, so when I came out I was like semi-traumatized. I think that was the hardest part for the pre-IUI, and then the whole IUI process started. I had to take hormonal pills for 5 nights. Everyone also goes through this differently, and that's why I feel like IUI and IVF are very I feel like the spectrum is so wide that you feel someone feels a certain way and it might not be same with you, right? When I took my hormonal pills, I remember having the biggest headache, and also my face was so bloated, and my stomach. I feel like I look like I was 4 months pregnant. Literally, it was so huge, and even on the side, it was like bulging so hard. I was a little semi-insecure about it, but there was nothing I can do. It was for making sure that, you know, my follicle is growing properly and all that, right, in order to have the IUI procedure more smoother. So I remember like looking at my videos when I was editing. I think it was in episode 3. You guys will see that my face looked really bloated. So yeah, I experienced with bloating and headache and tiredness in general. I remember being so sleepy. And then when I did my injection, which is called Folitrope. Folitrope is also known as super ovulation inducer. So it's basically helped to induce ovulation for people who are dealing with infertility. And that was very interesting because the whole time before I started my IUI, I thought that my period was very regular, but turns out it wasn't. So that was also like a big shock to me, or maybe I was just being very delulu that I was thinking that I'm normal, or maybe I was gaslighting myself that I'm a normal girl, why can't I conceive, right? So turns out I wasn't having a regular schedule for my period, and also my ovulation were very like up and down. So that's why the doctor was very shocked, because I was supposed to take 3 Folitrope injection 3 nights in a row, but I only took 2, and I was already like almost going to ovulation. So when I found out, I was like, wow, good thing I know, so I know what kind of like issues that I have been struggling with. And that's when we've decided to go earlier, a day from our scheduled IUI procedure. Honestly, everything went by really quickly, guys, with my IUI procedure. When I went to the doctor in the morning, he was like, okay, we gotta do it today. I'm gonna book the surgery room, and I need you to do your blood test now. Come back in an hour, and then have your husband do his deeds with his sperm, and then wait for another 2 hours so that the surgical room will be ready, and then you'll be doing your IUI. So that was like the whole day of my IUI procedure. It was quite hectic because I went and I took my blood test, I ate, came back, my husband did his deed, and then after that we went back home, walked the dogs, showered, and came back, and that was when I was brought to the surgical room. So the surgical room was actually pretty creepy. When I went in there, I saw like ladies were like on a row sleeping. I think that was after they did their IVF extraction. So most of them were sleeping on what do you call, on an IV. So that was like pretty creepy, because no matter how much noise I made, they wouldn't wake up, and I was like, ooh. So I went in there because the changing room is in the same room as those ladies who were sleeping. So I was like, oh my god, I was already getting nervous and already kind of panicking because I just don't know what to expect. And I feel like that factor of not knowing what to expect and how you will feel is such a scary thing, even though I already read so much online, but then again, it's different, right? And nobody told me before the IUI procedure I'm not supposed to pee. Nobody told me. So when I went in there and put my legs up in the surgical room, the doctor was like, did you pee? And I was like, yes. And he was like, oh, no, you're not supposed to pee because I need to have the liquid in order for me to see if the needle is going through or not. And I was like, oh my god, what am I supposed to do now, right? So he decided to put like a tube in my vajayjay, and he had to put in water inside, and that was the most weirdest sensation. I feel like I was having as close to the feeling of having UTI. So you kind of want to pee but you cannot, and you have like some sort of like urinary tract infection kind of feeling, and that was really uncomfortable. But also you have to be holding the water that just injected in you, right? So that was for 5 minutes, and to be honest, that was the longest 5 minutes I've ever experienced on that day. So yeah, I was like basically asking the doctor like, oh sorry, but like can you hurry up, I'm like borderline gonna pee. And also for some reason the injection like was, I think, this long. The injection for the IUI did not work, so he had to switch like 2 or 3 times, and he ended up using the one for IVF instead. And I remember him telling me, oh by the way, I'm using this one and this one work, and this is actually for IVF and it's a lot more expensive. And I was like, oh great, thanks for letting me know, but yeah, can we just like get this done? So after we got it done, we had a checkup, and he said that, oh, everything is fine, come back tomorrow. And yeah, I was really feeling nauseous on that day after the IUI because I actually had a meeting after. And I remember in the car I was just lying down like exhausted because the waiting, and I was just so nervous. So I think my whole back and my neck was tensing, but on that day I had a great sleep. Also, I was asked to take I forgot what it's called now, oh my god, I used to always remember what it's called, but it's basically a hormonal gel that you have to insert in your uterus to help the fertilization stick in there, to help basically the condition of the uterus better. So I remember I have to take that for 2 weeks, and then I have to take more than that after I conceive. So yeah, that was quite tough because I remember I kept on getting a weird discharge. I didn't tell you guys in the video, but I had a really like cheesy white weird discharge, mainly because of the gel that I have to insert every day. So yeah, and that gel, it has to be at the same time every single day, so that was quite tough in the beginning to kind of adjust, because I remember deciding it to be at 7:20 or 30 or something, so I have to wake up around then, inject, and then go back to sleep. What I learned from this whole experience, I think it's good to be mentally prepared and to kind of mentally be ready for the worst case scenario, which I didn't, which made me felt like I was so betrayed. Or how do I say it, well, more like scarred. Also to ask questions, I feel like I didn't really ask enough questions before proceeding on each step. I think that is also one of my toxic traits. Sometimes I just kind of like, it will happen, or like, we'll see, let's just go with the flow. But I think when it comes to things like this, you need to ask questions. If you have any doubts, just ask. I did ask, but I just feel like I didn't really ask enough. If I turn back in time, would I do it again? Yes, I would still give IUI a chance. I've always have this motto, never try, never know. If you don't try, you'll never know, right? Even if the percentage of IUI is only 10 to 15%, IVF around 30 or 40%, but still, why don't we give the 10 to 15% one a try, right? Maybe I'm one of the lucky patient, but I still give IUI a try, and I'm really grateful that I've met such a great doctor, and also that the IUI was successful. Also, I wanted to give you guys a little tip. Find a doctor that you feel most comfortable with. I switched, I think, like 2 doctors before I met my current one, and my current one is like such a great doctor. He's like a father. Every time I go for my checkup, I feel like I'm not stressed out. I think stress should be the least thing you want to think about if you're going to your doctor's appointment. So make sure that you meet the doctor that you really feel comfortable with, that you vibe with. And if not, it's gonna be a tough journey. To wrap everything up, I really am glad that I did IUI. It was the best decision that I've had. Obviously, It has been quite of a bumpy ride, but I am glad that I went through it because it was a really good individual growth period for me. I really learned a lot, and I learned to believe in myself and also learned to be more positive. I remember people around me, like some people that I talked to that I did my IUI, and they were like, oh, first time IUI is not gonna be successful. Have so many clients that did their IUI and they did their 8th and it didn't work. I want to still be hopeful, and I want to still be positive in thinking that, hey, miracle could happen. Why not just believe in it, right? If it doesn't work, it's fine, but you know, have some faith in the process that you're making and just believe in yourself. I remember in that conversation I said that, oh, it's alright. I think it's still gonna be fine. 15% is still a good chance, so why not, right? It was such a beautiful journey. I feel like I want to show my children or my kid in the future of how the process was, and I'm glad that throughout this journey a lot of you guys have opened up to me in the comments or DM and reached out to me saying that, hey, I'm going through the same problem or issues or journey, and it's just been really tough. I have just so much respect for every one of you who are fighting for this. It's not an easy journey, and I feel like so many people judge people because they don't have a baby yet, but they don't know what they're going through. Stay positive, guys. There's always going to be a solution to something. Talk to your partner what is best, and you know, work from there. And I'm really glad, I'm very grateful that my husband and I just are such a solid team. Whenever we want to decide on something, we always go through with it together. And yeah, IUI was a really great choice. But anyways, hope you guys find this helpful. And I'm also really thankful for a lot of you guys who have reached out to me and say that this video, the whole IUI journey, has been really a helpful and a good insight if you guys are planning on going on this journey too. Yeah, I'm really happy that I can help in any way, and also sharing my journey and how I feel with you guys. Anyways, that's all, and I'll see you guys next time. Annyeong!